Hello programmers, let's talk about decision trees. We're going to create some simple machine learning classification decision trees, and we'll start with this decision tree that helps us decide if we should play tennis. We're going to ask some questions. What's the outlook? Well, if it's sunny, what's the humidity? If it's high humidity, no, we'll skip on tennis that day. If it was normal humidity, we'll play tennis. If it's rainy, it still depends on the wind strength. If it's high winds and rainy, no. If it's rainy but normal winds, then yes, we'll play tennis. So if somebody gives you a tree structure like this, it's pretty easy to make code that goes along with that. We could just make some if, else statements and easily make a program that tells us should you play tennis or not based on this decision tree. But the hard part is crafting that decision tree given just the raw data. So if I give you this table of data and you hadn't already seen that other decision tree, could you craft the decision tree? We're going to learn a few vocabulary words. The first one is entropy, that tells us how mixed up our data is. So let's say that I've got a feature. It could be the temperature outside, the wind, whatever else. So if that feature allows me to drill down with a yes or a no and get a perfect split, that we have anyone that has yes on this feature, we know yes, they're going to play tennis. If there's a no on this feature, we know with 100% certainty, no, they have not played tennis historically if this feature is a no. So that is the ideal, that perfect split of the data, versus if we ask another question of a different feature and the yes gives us completely mixed up data and the no gives us completely mixed up data. Sometimes there's a yes, you'll play tennis, sometimes there's a no. And asking that question didn't really help us figure out whether or not the decision tree should say yes or no. If the group is able to do a perfect split like we did with this first feature, we say that that's pure and the entropy is 0. If we get something that's completely mixed up and it hasn't led us any closer to our decision of should we play tennis or not, then we say the entropy is 1. If I was adding this tennis data to a Python program, I might have a list with each of the features for outlook, temperature, humidity, and wind on each of the days, and then a target label of did somebody play tennis historically when those conditions were met. So for a sunny, hot, high temperature, weak wind day, no, they didn't play tennis. For the next one, no, and for the third one, yes, they did play tennis when it was overcast, hot, high, and weak. So in this case, without even looking at the features, if you just look at the number of times you've got yeses or nos for playing tennis, this individual really likes to play tennis more often than not. 5 of the 14 samples, 35.7% of the time, you're not choosing to play tennis, and 9 of the 14 times you are choosing to play tennis. So that's our initial how split up is the data. So the mathematical formula for calculating the entropy is that we're going to look at the probability of saying yes, we're going to play tennis, put a minus sign in front of that, times the log base 2 of the probability that we say yes, minus the probability of saying no to tennis, times log base 2 of the probability of saying no. So with our example, it'll look something like this. There was 9 out of the 14 times we played tennis, and 5 out of the 14 times we said no to tennis, and so our entropy is pretty close to 1, which is a very mixed up data set. We don't have a perfect split here. The next vocabulary word is information gain. I guess that's 2 words, but we're going to choose a feature, make the split, and say how much information did we gain by making that split. We'll look at the entropy before and the entropy after the split. For example, if we look at the outlook first and we're able to split the records into sunny, overcast, and rainy records, well, how well is that helping us split the data? The overcast part, we're getting something that's pure, and we've got all yeses there, so that looks pretty good, but the other 2, sunny and rainy, are still pretty mixed up. Here's what would happen if we split on temperature, humidity, wind. So we have to figure out which of those 4 decisions is the best one, gives us the most information gained. Well, when we look at the records that have strong wind, it's still perfectly mixed up. We have not gained any information by doing that split. If we look at the records where there was weak wind, it's a little bit better. But when we combine those two, the overall entropy after the split is not much better. 6 out of 14 of the records had strong wind. And then we'll do our entropy for that branch of strong wind, which is, I've done the calculation up here, it's perfectly mixed up, so we've got a 1 as the entropy there. And then we do, well, what about the weak wind? A little bit better, but it's still pretty close to 1, and we'll multiply that times the 8 records out of the 14 that had a weak wind, and if we add those two together, we have not gained much. So our entropy after the split is not that much different than the entropy before the split. So wind is not a great first choice for our decision tree. And I went ahead and did the calculation for the other choices, and the highest information gain that we're going to get, the difference between the beginning entropy and the after the split entropy, is when we look at outlook first. So let's use that for our decision tree. So we know we're going to start with this as our first decision, and now we want to know what's the next decision that we should make in our decision tree. Well, the overcast branch ended up with something that was pure. We knew what we were going to say, that we were going to say yes to tennis when it was overcast. And now we need little decisions on the sunny and the rainy side. We can break out just those records where it was sunny and figure out, well, what's the next decision we could do? We can do the same thing with the records that go to that part of the tree. And we can look at, well, let's look at humidity. Is that a good decider for whether or not we should play tennis based on it being sunny? I ended up getting a perfect split for the data, which is pretty rare. Usually you're going to get down to the end and you're going to still have a mix of yeses and nos. I only ended up asking 3 decisions. There was one column from our data that I didn't even use. The temperature, is it hot or cold? There is a risk with decision trees and creating them this way with small data sets like this, the 14 examples of playing tennis or not historically. If you were to teach your child addition and you teach them 1 + 1, 2 + 2, 3 + 4, and they just memorize those answers, then if they get to school and the teacher asks them, what is 5 + 2? Well, that wasn't one of the things that they memorized, so they won't know the answer necessarily. The same is true with decision trees and machine learning. If your model doesn't have a lot of data and you're making the decision tree on that, as soon as you throw something at it that wasn't part of the training data, then it may come up with the wrong answer. And that's called overfitting. The decision tree memorizing the training data. Some ways to counter that is specifying a max depth. Don't let your decision tree go 100 questions down, even if there's only like 4 features. Require more samples in the leaf than just 1. Remove irrelevant features if there's a column in the data that doesn't help you get more information gain. And you can remove branches that don't help with the classification or pruning your tree. We can actually use sklearn.tree DecisionTreeClassifier to create the tree for us, and then we can use matplotlib and other libraries to visualize this tree. So I'm going to take the data and make it look more like a spreadsheet format. And I'm going to do that by having every feature be its own dictionary. I've got a little row here where outlook goes to, and then all the outlooks for the 14 different records. Same for temperature, humidity, wind, and play tennis. And then I'm going to use the pandas library data frame. And that's good if you have data that looks kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. It'll be easy to pull out different information based on these key value pairs. So we go ahead and create that, and then we're going to make a label encoder. We need to change from words, English words that we understand, like sunny and overcast, to numbers that the computer will understand, 0s and 1s. So for play tennis, instead of the word no and yes, we're going to end up transforming that into no being a 0 and yes being a 1. And then one hot encoding will also help us change all these English words to 1s and 0s. After the one hot encoding, we're going to have, instead of the words cool, hot, and mild, we're going to have 3 different columns for the data. And if the original data said the temperature was cool, you'll see a 1 there, and you'll see 0s if it was hot or mild. So we're going to go ahead and encode that using the one hot encoding. We want to make things easy to plot, and then we'll go ahead and train the decision tree. Remember, we're using entropy to see how mixed up the data is, and we're hoping for a pure answer where we're perfectly classifying things. And then we'll go ahead and run this. So we end up with a result that is not nearly as nice as when we created the tree ourselves. But here we've got right here, we're again starting with overcast, but now it's not English words of whether or not it's overcast, yes or no. We've got numbers that are 0 or 1, so we'll say if it's less than or equal to 0.5, go over to this side of the tree. Then we'll look at the humidity, then we look at the rain, and at the very bottom we have no, we're not going to play tennis, no, we're not going to play tennis, yes, we'll play tennis, and no, we're not going to play tennis. And I printed out a few of the variables. So what does it look like after the one hot encoding? You're going to have things like 0s and 1s for the overcast value. So we go back and we look, and it was sunny, sunny, overcast, rain, rain. So overcast, sunny, sunny would have 0s there. And when we get to the overcast, we've got a 1. That's how the data looks after the one hot encoding. All right, hope you enjoyed this. Happy programming.